Almost. Major. Holy fucking shit, this is major! Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Almost Major, where we talk about the many major studios and the films they release. My name is Kevin Tudor. I'm here with Charlie Nash.
Hello.
And Bryden Doyle.
Hello.
And joining us once again is the better half of Escape from that 2010s place. It's Clay Williams.
I'm finally glad someone has fully realized I am the best one. We are symbiotic in existence, but I am the better half, and it's kind of crazy that hasn't been really stated sooner. But you know, and especially since it took you guys so long to have me on, so I'm glad someone's finally said it, and I forgive you.
Well, here's the thing. When I put the episode up, I'm going to spell your name with a K instead of a C, so go fuck yourself.
Man,
and today we're talking about Escape from the Bronx from 1983, a.k.a. Bronx Warriors 2, a.k.a. Escape 2000. This came out August 15th, 1983 in Italy, and came out January 18th, 1985 in the United States. Don't know the budget, don't know the opening weekend, but apparently domestic and overall gross of $300,544. In stark contrast with the top five that we had last week, I only knew of two of these movies before. Top five films that weekend: Beverly Hills Cop, The River, which is the Sissy Spacek Mel Gibson movie, Mickey and Maude, which I believe is a, what's his name? Blake Edwards movie, I believe.
Right.
The Flamingo Kid.
Yeah, it's a really good movie. It's a Matt Dillon 60s period piece where he's like a working class kid in New York who takes a job at a summer resort. That's like a really sweet movie.
I was hoping it was a Western, and the outlaw was named the Flamingo Kid. I feel like that would be really good.
I mean, that should be up for grabs. Filmmakers make a Western with that.
Well, I mean, I'm writing my script right now, Bryden, so why don't you shut the fuck up?
Yep.
If there's ever anybody in a Western that would be like, boy, you look like you read. What do they call you? The Flamingo Kid? Yeah. And then rounding out that top five is The Passage to India, which is a late David Lean movie. And since it's David Lean, it's 3.5 hours long, I think.
Not very lean, is it?
No.
Bless you for making that joke. I was just thinking something like that. Yeah.
I need to leave.
You need to lean. Number one song in the U.S. this week is Like a Virgin by Madonna. Number one song in Canada this week is also Like a Virgin by Madonna. Plot description from Google: a newswoman played by Valeria D. Obiki and a Bronx warrior played by Mark Gregory fight an exterminator played by Henry Silva of Burroughs residence in the year 2000. I don't know why this takes place in the year 2000. Nothing about it is futuristic other than the police that try to take them out of their buildings wear silver suits and motorcycle helmets, which not going to protect you from bullets. It might.
Dude, the bit where the one underground gang leader hits the guy in the face with the butt of the shotgun and his face and helmet just explode. Oh my gosh, that shit is so good.
And there's the one where I think they go into Trash's parents' house, and then one of the parents hits one of the guys in the helmet, and you can see the shot. There's clearly a dummy in that.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It still was awesome though. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love how a bat through a face shield of a motorcycle helmet would mutilate half your face on instant impact. I love that.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty fun. I'll try it out. Based on a story by Tito Capri, written by Tito Capri and Enzo G. Castonarelli. Tried my best. Both also wrote Warriors of the Wasteland from 1983, directed by Enzo G. Castonelli. Starring Mark Gregory as Trash, was in the first film that this series takes place in, 1990, The Bronx Warriors, the previous year, and Thunder, the same year. Henry Silva as Floyd Wrangler. He was also in a movie we previously covered, Ghost Dog. Listen to our episode. I believe that was his last performance, right?
Oh,
I think
wow.
so.
He's good at that. I was thinking about that. Is he the gangster who's obsessed with Public Enemy in that movie?
Yeah. And then he gets shot through the fucking... the bathroom sink. Yeah. And lastly, does this New Line Cinema film have Lin Shaye in it? No, quit asking. Okay? Maybe next week. I don't know. Trivia. The full death toll in the uncut version is 174. There are 110 killed in shootings, 400 in explosions, 9 by flamethrowers, 1 by stabbing, 1 off-screen kill, 4 unknowns, 6 electrocutions, 2 bashed in the face with a helmet, and 1 face turned to red mush after being hit with a shotgun butt.
Hell fucking yes. Did you say 400 in explosions, or did you mean 40?
40. Maybe I was wishing things into existence.
The
That's the
400
extended
blows.
cut. Yeah.
Charlie, bless you for making that joke. That's great.
God damn.
Wait, no, this is not good. Bryden should not be thanking us for puns. This means we've we've lost the war.
We've been Bryden
We've lost
pilled.
the fucking war.
I also love the machine gun bit. When you were talking about the budget, I thought of one of my favorite like throwaway lines in the movie 50-50. It's where Seth Rogen, he's like sitting down after like the morning after a hookup. He's just like watching TV. He's got no clothes on, and his date looks miserable and everything. He's watching this action movie on TV. He's like, I wonder what the machine gun budget was on this movie. And she's like, can we change the channel? He's like, no, I want to see how this ends.
They all use like the same 5 guns, like multiple. Everyone has the same submachine gun that all the like private security people and all of the biker gangs have. Everyone has this one gun. It's accessible to everybody. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
All of Henry Silva's scenes were shot in Rome. On the wall in the apartment of Trash's parents is a large black and white poster of Mark Gregory from the first film, 1990, The Bronx Warriors in 1982, which makes me think that Trash is an actual real-life person and these characters went to see this dramatic retelling of his life and got a poster for this film. Apparently the filmmakers spent... No, it wasn't. The filmmaker spent 2 weeks shooting in New York City, shot roughly 18 months after the first Bronx film. The director has stated that he was disappointed with how much muscle mass Mark Gregory had lost between part 1 and this sequel, which is why he keeps his jacket on for 90% of the movie. He was like, why aren't you jacked anymore? Put on this jacket.
That
Where did
also
all
has
your
a
muscle mass go?
That also has a Confederate flag on it. Like,
Thank
what the
you,
fuck?
Charlie. What the fuck? I don't get it.
yeah,
I don't understand it. What's the point?
so-
Someone tell me, why is there a
And I
Confederate
watched,
flag?
so I didn't finish it, so I won't comment on the quality of the movie itself, but like I watched the first 30 minutes of 1990, The Bronx Warriors, and like he's the leader of like the gang in that movie, and like some of the gang members in that movie have like swastikas on their helmets, and I was just like, wow, there's like a lot going on just there. I don't know if the movie's like
Shit
equipped
is
to deal with
different
this.
in 1990 and the year 2000 in these movies, okay? They've reclaimed the swastika and the Confederate flag for some reason, I guess. I don't know.
I feel like it's like, to me it's like very much like an Italian commenting on the American culture and Americana, and they were just like, yeah, they're racist. Confederate flag, sure, that represents America. I have no idea, but
what if the
that's
director,
only
being
way
that
I can
he's
understand it.
What if the director, being that he's Italian, thinks that that's the flag for New York City?
Hilarious. Hilarious.
No.
Hilarious.
This was filmed in New York City in the Cinecittà Film Studios in Rome, just like Cop Killer. Mark Gregory was still 18 when he shot this film, and the director stated on the DVD commentary for the first film that his young age and lack of experience was possibly a factor in why he did not last long in the film business, which... that's just rude. And lastly, this was featured in Mystery Science Theater 3000. Charlie, you have the floor.
I watched the episode. It's very funny. They
Okay.
are brutally... I love Mystery Science Theater and all the puns they make. I will say, they are brutally mean to the... God, I can't even remember the character's name, and I just watched this movie twice in like 2 days. But the woman who suggests kidnapping the president, they
Moon Gray.
The reporter.
yeah,
Moon
they're
Gray.
mean about her, but everything else about the movie's funny, or about the episode is funny. Toblerone, they keep referring to as Toblerone, and whenever he's not on screen for like 20 minutes, they're like, well, if anything needed more Toblerone. Like, it was so
That guy seems to be having a very fun time in this movie.
yeah,
Just like,
there's
awesome time.
also when the president shows up when there's that scene at the beginning where they have the model and they're like pointing to the Bronx and how they're gonna wipe it out. The president shows up and they're like, "Yes, I invented New York City," and it's just it's on YouTube
And
for
that's-
free. You
And
can
that's
watch
him,
it.
right? That's the director who plays the president.
No, the director plays the, police operator with that big mustache.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
wondering too.
Yeah.
And they also keep making anytime, like every 10 minutes, they're like, "God damn, I guess I should have left the Bronx." Like they keep making that joke, and it should get old, but it never does. Like,
the thing with the police operators, like, yeah, Sector 5, Sector D, like, they literally throw out all of the fucking
Get all the sectors on this.
right, like, all the sci-fi garbage, like, you know, Sector D5, okay, let's move to Sector C3, let's move to Sector Z55, like, it's such, like, gobbledygook. It's so funny.
At one point, they don't even... It seems like... I mean, obviously, they write that show before they make all those puns, but during the scene at the beginning where they're like, all parents are to be exterminated, I think it's Mike who's like, all parents are to be exterminated? Like... It's such a jarring bit of dialogue.
Damn.
Yeah.
I need to get back into Mystery Science Theater. I remember watching that late at night on like Sci-Fi Channel.
It's so goddamn funny.
Sounds
So
like
many episodes are for free on YouTube. I mean, when I used to work at the Coolidge, there were times where every like couple months we'd just throw on a Mystery Science Theater movie and watch one after hours after we shut the theater down. Good times. Yeah. Werewolves, great episode. Michelle. Santa Claus versus the Martians is a classic one. The Final Sacrifice, I remember, has one of my favorite. It was the first episode of Mystery Science Theater I ever saw, and there's like, that movie starts off with like scenes of people chasing a guy with guns, and it cuts to the guy being chased, then it cuts to the guy with guns, or the guys with guns, and then it cuts to him being chased, cuts back to the guys with guns, then it just cuts to a shot of the woods that the chase is happening in, and you hear a gunshot go off, and they go, oh, he exploded before they could shoot him.
I do love, in the speaking of explosions, how every car you just have to shoot once for it to explode. It's so funny. It's like,
Trash shoots an airplane down in 3 pistol shots.
and
And you see the guy fly out.
That's your introduction to that character.
What a
Hey,
way.
Trash. How's it going? Oh no, it's Trash. Let's get him. Like, it's so. This was a trip.
Well,
this was
also,
a trip.
yeah.
for me.
I will say too, the other bit that got me was like not only just like them, like how easily they're able to like blow up cars with like just one shot and everything, but yet, like, when Strike shoots a guy in the face with a shotgun, it's like he just has like a little bit of blood. I'm thinking, how is his entire head not missing and everything? Like, it's it's so weird.
You could tell that they were like, there's sometimes like there's some squibs, but you could tell they're like, we're killing so many people, we can't have all these fucking squibs. They're just flail around,
Yeah.
do the Western thing where you just like flail around, like, oh, you must have got shot.
I am also curious if anyone watched the original Italian version, which I did, which also had closed captioning, so there were certain things like, in parentheses, trash cries. And I was like, oh, it's me.
I'm racist towards Italians, so I did it.
I know. Yeah, I watched the English dub, and it seemed like most people were speaking English. At least
Some people were. That was the thing
Yeah.
about the Italian dub, is sometimes there were like, I was looking at their mouths, I'm like, oh, that person's speaking English. Or like, but there were
It seems like
some...
Henry Silva is for sure speaking English.
Oh, of course. Yeah, but I think the news reporter, she is speaking English also, and I think Trash for most of it is.
Also,
as far as-
the
yeah.
Italian version, much more vulgar. There's that scene where you're introduced to the kid who, like, points a gun at the guy while hanging upside down. I think it's Trash, actually. And he straight up calls him the F slur.
He does that in the English dub as well. Yeah.
Oh, he does?
Yeah, that was
Okay, I guess
it's
I
in the-
had to cut that out.
whatever
of
the criterion is. Yeah.
Okay, I guess I cut... well, now that makes sense. I guess because the English version I did watch, but it was the Mystery Science Theater one, which does get trimmed around the edges to fit an episode of that show. So I think they trimmed out, like, you know, probably 10 minutes of vulgarities and some of the more graphic violence. Because it does play like a completely different movie. It was pretty amazing to watch, like, this movie in high definition and be like, oh yeah, it's this, like, really goofy, like, endearingly silly, ultra-violent action movie, and then to watch it on Mystery Science Theater where everybody's trashing it and it's in the English dub version. It did play like a completely different experience.
Yeah.
So it was definitely a fascinating little experiment.
Yeah.
Attention! Attention! Abandon all buildings. This is a final warning.
The Bronx is a public disgrace.
The Bronx is a plague.
Who the hell wants to live in New Mexico?
They're all lies! People are being slaughtered in there, exterminated!
what they're calling your methods? Genocide.
The technical term is disinfestation.
Initial thoughts. Bryden, let's start with you. What did you think about
I'm the
Escaping the
guest.
Bronx? You got the last time. Come on.
I thought this was okay. I think this is the kind of thing where like I like the premise of it all, but it is just kind of the thing where like, and this isn't always a problem when I watch genre movies, but like the performances do sometimes leave a little something to be desired. I do think Henry Silva is like really the only actor who's giving like a really consistently good performance. I think he's like hamming it up in a really fun way. I mean, I just looked up the quotes that I wrote down, but like when he's like talking about like the one guy's just like, hey, there's still some people in like the building, and he says like, what was that you said? Oh yes, roaches and rats. Proceed, and then you're just the one, and then you
so good,
and then like you hear the like just like very quickly like the one guy who rushes up, he's like, jeez, like even he's kind of disturbed by Silva's like, you know, callousness. And there are some bits I think where I feel like you could sort of tighten up just like the pacing of some of like the scenes a bit, like with especially like with how like the camera moves through a scene. Like there's one bit where it's when Strike and Trash and Moon, Gray, and Junior. I was trying to remember all the characters' names.
Sorry. I just, those names in combination.
Yeah.
Strike, Trash, Moon, Gray.
We got Strike, we got Moon, Gray, we got Trash. Yeah. They're all there. But when they come above ground, there's this, you see like the cops who are just like kind of talking distractedly about like what bars they want to go to or whatever, and like you hold on them for like a minute, and then like another cop comes in to chew them out and say like, hey, what are you guys doing? Having a meeting? Come on over here to like guards and everything. And then like they walk out of camera, and then you get like Trash and like all the other people like, you know, walking into the frame from the background and everything, and like it's like I don't know, the shot feels like it goes on for like a minute, but I'm thinking like, you could have like, it doesn't have to be like we can only have one thing going on at the same time in this shot and everything. We got like,
you can cut. It's possible.
Or you can like have like multiple things happen at the same time. Like our eyes can focus on different things happening. Like you could have the cops coming in and being distracted, and then like Trash and the company like going in like from the background, like at the same time. That's like a little thing, but there's just like a few shots like that, and like sometimes some of the
that happens a lot.
Yeah, and there's like some awkward pauses in like the dialogue where it doesn't quite flow. I do think like, I mean, Kevin, you were like saying like in our group chat, like it, you know, watching some of the slow motion explosions like does like sometimes get a little bit repetitive, but I did enjoy them.
It's my favorite part.
I mean, yeah, like I also love sometimes like the explosions will have like a glittery quality to them and everything, like, you know, sort of like sparkling rock, like it's so cool. Yeah. And then yeah, like some of, and yeah, the violence is like, you know, it's bloody but very cartoonish, but I kind of like that like sort of, you know, chunky texture to it sometimes.
I want more blood. Give me all the blood. This is give me more.
And then I do think it's interesting watching this movie. It is like a pretty trashy like genre movie and everything, but like it is just a little bit weird. Look, I don't think we need to get like too serious about this, but like it is just like weird watching a movie where like they are speaking the word about genocide and like, you know, like it's all like being covered up. Well, like, you know, and like it is like the movie is like doing it in a very heightened way and everything, but like where it is like people like who refuse to leave their homes and then like, you know, be and like not being and then just being removed in like the most hideously violent way. It does make me think a lot about like what is going on in
it's certainly
Gaza right now. I mean, like it does make me feel like that.
Yeah.
Like
no, it's very much like a pretty close. Like, I mean, the whole denial of like, no, this isn't happening. What are you guys talking about? We're doing this in a very humane way. Like it's hard not to immediately draw those comparisons. I think we are all right there.
Yeah.
It's
absolutely.
Easy to see.
So that was just like and like I think the movie is like, you know, it's rightly on the side of like the people who are being oppressed and everything, but that was just like a weird for watching like a movie that is like, you know, it does like have like a very heightened tone and everything, and it's like, you know, I think first and foremost a genre movie, it just like was weird to watch that. Not like it, of course, like what's happening now is like the first time it's ever happened in history, but it's just anyway, just right now it's
a time
weird.
Capsule in which we're recording this and talking about it. I mean, it's really bad right now, and it's just hard not to think about everything.
Well, it's so blatant and obvious currently. Like it's one of those things. Like these things have always are happening at some point in human history. Like somewhere around the world, there is some version of this happening in a way. But like right now, it's like fucking right in our fucking face, where we're all just seeing it like blasted in our phones. Like it's impossible to avoid. Yeah. So I think it's for sure. But like Bryden, you mentioned, and I know we're doing initial thoughts, but I just want to bring this up before I forget.
You could go into your initial thoughts, by the way. It's fine. Like, yeah, go right ahead.
Yeah. I mean, I share a lot of the same opinion. I think it's fine. It's whatever. I think it loses a lot of steam at places where it really picks up with certain like action. I think the action's like done pretty okay. Even the hand-to-hand combat, I was actually kind of impressed by. For a movie like this, when it comes to what what side is the movie on? It's obviously not on the genocidal maniacs. It's not like I'm no truly. There's no way to misinterpret that. But I don't think it actually thinks that well of New Yorkers. Like, I actually don't. I think it is in pretty contempt of the oppressed people as well. It's not saying like he's like the film is saying that they're like in the right, so to speak, of like they shouldn't be horribly murdered, but they also just don't think they're like worth that much to society, or like feel I don't know. The film's very. I don't really get if it has actually real empathy or respect for any of the characters they're trying to portray.
That's interesting. What gives you that impression? Is it the fact like that they have like kind of these disreputable traits like the Confederate flag, dropping the F slur and all that stuff? Like, is it that kind of stuff that gives you that impression?
That, and it's just like, I don't know, they're all like super, super broad characterizations, and they're all like portrayed as somewhat devious in certain ways. Like they're doing something that's wrong and something like criminal or whatever. Like either it's like prostitution or bank robberies or, like smuggling things or being part of a gang. Like, and obviously this is just the world the movie inhabits, but I don't know. I would never, there's not like this one scene in the whole movie where I feel like, wow, that shows a lot of respect and empathy with, or like not, like there's some empathy with like people getting killed and stuff, but like, it doesn't feel like they actually like respect any of the characters. Like, oh, they're gutter trash, but they shouldn't be killed.
Trash's parents exist to die. All the women are also basically sex workers and not in a very empowering. All the women pretty much die pretty terribly.
Yeah, Moon's death is so surprising. Like, I thought like, oh, this will just be like a distraction and like she'll keep going. And it's like, and then like it's like, Governor, do something. And he just like thinks for a moment, is like, say she has a gun, and like, it's just like, what? Yeah. Like, it happens so quickly.
And like, then every other woman is basically like seen before they're in combat, like seducing some guy and then pulling out a switchblade and being like, I'll cut your pecker off or something. Like, it's just, it's.
And like the motivation for like almost all of the characters besides like Trash is like, it's survival, but also just like, we want them out of here so we can go back to doing crime. And it's like, it's one of those things where it's just like, I just don't think the movie thinks very highly of these people at all. Like, I don't think it's super sympathetic to who they are as like an actual culture or like as human beings. They're just like, they shouldn't be genocided. I think we all agree. But
yeah,
that's it.
For sure. And I feel a little bit bad. I took a nap earlier today, so that's why I didn't watch 1990 The Bronx Warriors. But that movie, from the little bit that I saw of it, that is like where the gangs are ruling the Bronx. I guess because that's what it takes place before the events of this movie. It'll be interesting sometime down the line for me to revisit that, to actually watch that movie the whole way through and see like, so how much better is it with like the gangs ruling like the world? Obviously, like, yes, I want like, they have a right to be there and everything, but it's like how do they rule the city? Like, how different is that from like how the GC Corporation, which sucks according to Moon, right? How differently do they rule it? And also just we'll be referring to it like for the rest of the show, but it is pretty much always funny every time you remember that the main character's name is Trash. Like, it's just so funny. Like saying, you're trash.
There's Trash. Get him. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. After like a good 30 minutes and there's just nonstop action and none of it is really distinguishable from anything, my brain just kind of turns off.
Yeah. And it ends in a pretty anticlimactic way too. Yeah. Like, it doesn't feel like there's that one action scene that stands apart. Like, oh, this is the important one. It's all just like running around, machine gun, running around, machine gun.
You could definitely mix up the reels of the action scenes, and it would probably be as coherent as there is something. I guess I'll just say I found it an endearing kind of throwback to when they made movies like this. I mean. With practical effects, I also do agree it's a bit of a one-trick pony, but it's a one-trick pony that no squibs. No squibs. It did make me be like, and we are talking about how politically thin it is. I mean, I really think this is just an excuse to blow shit up and do whatever. Truly, you know, like it. And
to be like vaguely anti-fascist, like we don't like.
Yeah, exactly. But the real reason is they just like blowing shit up, and for the most part, I thought it was fun. I do agree. By the end, I was definitely kind of like, all right, we can wrap this up now. Like it doesn't really escalate. Like the action is kind of the same type of stakes all the way through, but I found it charming in its very retro kind of 80s. I mean, it's also Escape from New York, very heavily Escape from New York. It's Hey Arnold the movie in terms of plot, if you really want to get into it, where
get into it.
Yeah, please.
Well, they have to stop the Hey Arnold has to, or
his first name is Hey. Yes.
His first name is Hey. They have to stop their homes from being torn down so they can build a mall. It's also the finale of Strangers with Candy, but I had a fun time watching it. I mean, I watched it twice to watch a Mystery Science Theater like commentary on it enough to be, which is, you know, there's some movies that are so bad I'm not even sure I'd sit through it again with them. If you're a fan of what it's doing, it's fun. It's
it definitely does what it says on the tin. I like to put it like that. It does what it wants to do. It's just, it's just not like super unique in its execution, and definitely leaves a lot to be desired in certain beats they're trying to hit. Like, I think Henry Silva's death sucks balls. He just he just blows up in an undescript van.
And his car's like, it looks like his car is stopped. Like, he's not even like, it's like he's driving and shooting at the same time, and it's like that car is so far away, and also looks like he just stopped driving. Like, it's
even Mystery Science Theater, they at one point they just cut back and they go, "Why did he park?"
Yeah, and it's like just like he like Trash just like after one interaction between the two of them, he just shoots the back of his car and it blows up. It's just when you build that villain up so much and you actually do a really good job of like giving him that evil and like but still inviting energy, you're still and they just kind of take him out like that. It's like when I was watching and I was talking to a friend while I was watching, like, that was super fucking anticlimactic.
Yeah, well, and I don't know why he ends up killing the president. Not like it matters, because at one point I was just like, wait, why did he do that? And then another part of me was like, who cares? But like...
Right. What I wanted to happen to was the guy who takes the position of president, he gets to his snazzy red sports car and drives off. What I wanted to happen was, like, Henry Silva was also backstabbing that guy and have his car blow up or something, but then, just like the moment he turns the key. But then he just, like, what happens is he's driving away and, like, he gets, like, shot at, his car blows up, and, like, the movie cannot cut away quick enough, like, to get away from that. I'm just like...
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, he's dead.
Like, I could have, like, turned away for a second and missed that guy got killed. Like, it's so weird.
Yeah.
Charlie, also, you were mentioning Escape from New York. For sure, you get that vibe. I also thought a lot about The Warriors, which is also about like people
that's been documented as being like.
Well, yeah, I mean, the score sounds like very much like the Barry Dvorak themes that run throughout that movie, and also just like the elaborate outfits that the gangs wear and everything. And like, I love when you're going in the underground layer and you see the guys who have like who have like, I think they're very purple, but they also have like batons, and it looks like they're practicing like a dance fight routine. I'm thinking, is that actually how you're like? It is like just a kind of thing where it's like you think it does. They don't look at so much like an actual gang. They're just like sort of like, all right, let's get our dance routine together. But yeah,
this is one of the few like movies that like are obviously like, you know, like this actually feels like New York. I feel like a lot of like foreign productions, even domestic productions of like filming about like, you know, a movie that's set in New York doesn't have any familiarity to it at all. Or it's like, oh, this is like Toronto, or this is just Italy or something. Like this isn't, or this is some
like nondescript major city. This does feel like obviously it's the exteriors, but I don't know. I do think it has that New York feel, especially like a post-apocalyptic New York. I've never like, this feels like we're somewhere else. It does that kind of how clustered everyone is, the focus of how urban everything is. I think that comes across pretty well.
The Italian version, they keep calling it New Mexico.
They call it New Mexico in the English dub as well.
Yeah, New Mexico. And then New Mexico is even written on a sign at one point.
Yeah, that's an English dub. Yeah.
No, the plot is that they're like forcing people to like, they're like, okay, you can't live in the Bronx anymore, but we'll give you alternative housing in New Mexico.
Okay. I kept.
Yeah, I like Charlie's version better, though.
I was just like, they just got it mixed up. Yeah. God damn it.
Welcome to the
New
Bronx,
Mexico, right?
New Mexico.
I just kept hearing New Mexico. Well, it's also funny. I'm sorry when you're reading subtitles like that and stuff like that, and it just says, New Mexico. You're just kind of like, what? Yeah.
I mean, and it's also extremely, that plot point is super like how the Nazis would put Jewish people into train and promise them like work in different places and stuff. Like, it's like pretty on the nose with that shit.
Yeah, and it's also a weird kind of, I find these kind of dystopias interesting, or like sort of like hellish depictions of like what the future could be like, where you get some movies like where it's like Book of Eli and everything, where it's like, this is barren, society has fallen, nothing good is ever gonna happen again. Whereas in this, it's like, they've got like, it does not look great in the Bronx and everything, but then like you go into like Manhattan or whatever, it's like, this is like just like traffic jams and everything, and there's like like
it's like the same. It's not very futuristic.
Yeah.
Well,
the underground club members or underground rebels basically also have this, shit sucks, but boy do we have fun. Like,
they have like a nice coffee machine and everything. I'm thinking, where'd they get that?
Like,
Yeah, it is really funny how it's just like, oh, this seems fine. Like, nothing's really changed besides...
It's rather jovial for such a bleak type of, existence.
It reminds me of, like, the first Mad Max, where it's like, it's definitely it's kind of post-apocalyptic, but also you're just like, is this just Australia? Because, like, you see buildings, and they still have, like, a police force, and there's still, like, some kind of society still happening, but it's definitely not right, so to speak. So, it doesn't really feel like the future, but it is definitely not of this time. It really feels like that kind of vibe. Like, the only thing that's futuristic about this is they're wearing like spacesuits with motorcycle helmets. That's the only thing.
Yeah,
and like fuel, like backpacks of fuel that like they blow up very easily, so they catch on fire. Yeah. I also love just like when it occasionally like dips into the main part of New York, when the DAS, the Disinfestation Annihilation Squad, which, goodness, that's not ominous at all. I love
it so much.
When they roll out of their van and like are going into like are lifting up the grate on the sidewalk to go into the sewers to pursue Trash and the others, you get like the one guy in the background who's like walking on the sidewalk, and he just like sort of like tries to like sidestep, like just very casually, like he's like, I'm gonna avoid this and everything, and then like they're like saying, hey, move along and everything, but it's funny, this guy's like, oh, that's kind of weird, I'm gonna keep moving along.
Whenever they said Annihilation Squad, I was like, that would be amazing if Jennifer Jason Leigh just stepped out of the back of one of those trucks and was just like, Annihilation, and then just barfed out
that's so
lamp
funny
goo. Like,
I do love like how blatant a lot of that stuff. I mean, it really does play into the whole genre thing. It's like, which is different in a sense of what the movie we talked about last time, which was Cop Killer, where you feel like it doesn't fully play into the genre-y-ness of it all. Like, it's still, like, it's trying to be respectable and like prestige-y while also being like a dirty little genre thing found underneath the mattress.
This has the dirty, grimy, like, it's not like totally grimy, but it has that kind of crunchiness that I kind of wanted out of something like Cop Killer, even though it is
shaggy.
Much different.
It doesn't feel completely right. It's like it's like messy, and I think there's definitely a charm to this. I just wish it was less boring.
It's monotonous after a while. It maybe because it's not that the stunts are bad. It's just kind of the same thing after a while. Like there isn't really any type of escalation in terms of the action scenes. It's just more flamethrowers, more slow motion, more people falling off of bikes, more, like, it's not bad. It's just kind of like, okay, yeah, I'm kind of done by the hour mark, and then there's like 25 more minutes to go, and you're kind of like, this isn't bad. It's, perfectly fine. It's just, just kind of doing the same thing again.
Yeah, and like, it's like we're talking about all the movies that it's been compared to and anything like The Warriors and Escape from New York. It's like, those movies existed already when this like came out. I kind of would just rather watch those, especially because like there's better performances in that. There's like tighter pacing, and like there is like a real like sense of like propulsion and everything. Like The Warriors, they never stop running. Like, and even though like that movie has its stiff performances and everything, like there is like a little bit more variety and like the kind of stuff that they. Whereas this one, there's like a little bit more downtime, and like it's like kind of like, okay, the downtime isn't very interesting though. Like,
can you imagine that? Yeah. Do you think the director was probably just like, can we get those fucking flamethrowers back on set, please?
Maybe the best scene is whenever the news reporter and the camera guy or the photographer or whatever, and she like goes out of the building, and then my man who's taking pictures just gets full on flamethrowered, and she was like, "You still there? Hello?"
I also love his quip of like when she's saying like, "Oh, this underground layer is supposed to be under the public square," and he's like, "Really? From the smell of it, I'd say it's more like under the public toilets." And I'm just like, good one, man.
Got him good.
And also
Get his ass.
My cursed brain, like just like watching it, like when it's cutting between all like the shootouts and everything. When like that photographer, he's like taking the picture, so it's like, get that shot and everything. I was seeing like, oh, it's like a precursor to Civil War. And I was just like, I hate my brain. It's just like...
Wait, quick, which is a better movie, this or Civil War?
I haven't seen Civil War. This movie's better.
I liked Civil War fine. I thought it was kind of interesting, but yeah.
I haven't seen it yet. No. I know I just quoted another Alex Garland movie that I do like, but after Men, I've been, hesitant.
No thanks. I'm gonna RSVP no to that. Do I have it downloaded and I will hate watch it? Yeah, but leave me alone.
Dread is a masterpiece. Continue.
Bad
20 Days Later is a masterpiece too.
Dread is fun.
It's fun.
I love Annihilation, but
terrible film.
I like that.
Let's keep going.
Yeah.
Never Let Me Go. Let Me Go.
Annihilation's great. What, are you not sad, Kevin?
I like Never Let Me Go, but like that movie, I wish that movie was better directed. I watched that recently and I was like, this is like a little flat visually, but like I love like all the performances and I like the script pretty well. But yeah, anyways, weird.
What are we doing?
I'm sorry. What am I doing talking about Never Let Me Go? A movie that came out 14 years ago. Super relevant, hot off the presses, and I'm talking about that movie. But yeah, sorry.
Kevin's just gonna edit out all our voices and just have flamethrower sound effects. Just.
I think Annihilation is. What movie? I don't know if we're done, but what movie that we've covered would you all guys like to do Mystery Science Theater type of recording of?
Oh, that's a good question.
Oh, I don't want to watch any of the worst movies.
I haven't been on here much before for some reason, so I'm not sure.
Well, when we do Mystery Science Major 3000 and we cover House of the Dead, you can come on for that.
I don't want to watch that again.
What if we're getting paid buku bucks to do that?
House of the Dead is one of the worst movies we've ever covered, probably will ever cover, and I would watch that over so many movies that we've covered before. I don't know. You can't really, because you can't really do like Mystery Science Theater for like the Red Violin or something. Or it's
man,
like,
that violin sure is red. Yeah. It's just us three, just like. Did you say something? No.
No, you can't do Mystery Science Theater for like Fahrenheit 9/11 or something.
Can we just do Ghost Dog, but instead Ghost Dog, The Way of Samurai, but instead of it being like, oh, this is so bad, we're just like, this rules, doesn't it? Yeah, this is pretty great. Yeah, this is awesome.
Oh yeah, this one scene's coming up. Oh yeah, this kicks ass. Didn't that kick ass? Yeah. Oh, this happened? All right, this is cool.
Literally. Honestly, Swim Fan would be a fun one. I would be shocked if there's not a Riff Tracks version of that.
There's a Riff Tracks version of this movie, so they've done it twice.
I think one of the most fucked up things we could do is do a Mystery Science Theater version of Requiem for a Dream, but that
I don't want to do that.
Yeah, that would just be
She's like, did you say something? No? You alright? Yeah. Like, doing one for Ringmaster, it would just be like us three just being like, how much longer? Can we watch this in 2x speed, please? What else we got about Escape from the Bronx? I was going to watch the original movie, but then after this one, I was just like, I would only be watching it as kind of like a completionist. I really don't care that much.
I figured out it was a sequel, I think, right as I started. I'm just like, no.
Yeah,
I like, not happening.
I
was telling them, I was just like, yeah, I'm going to watch the sequel to this also. And I was like, wait, this is the sequel. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
I'm going to be so lost. Yeah.
I don't know. I'd like to see some of Kessler's other movies. I'm seeing if I have a few of them watched listed, but yeah, this was fine. I liked, but yeah, Henry Silva. I mean, he's the MVP of this. I mean, the bit when he spits out the coffee and he's like, "Yo, I said no sugar. Sugar makes me crazy," and like he like goes bug-eyed and everything. It's like, yeah, he's so much fun in this.
I don't use this word a lot when describing art or performances or entertainment, but he's really delicious in this movie. He's just so fun. He's like I love. He's also great. I've always enjoyed him. It's unfortunate about his character in The Manchurian Candidate. Less said about that, the better.
For whatever reason, I'm just imagining Click being like, I could eat that guy with a spoon. Like,
yeah, I could. He seems yummy.
Hey, Henry Silva, after you like blow up these buildings, like, what are you doing later?
The Manchurian Candidate performance is really, really unfortunate because everything else he's great. Like, just really bad case of yellow face. But like you've seen the original Manchurian Candidate, right?
Yes,
I haven't.
Love
I've
it.
only seen the remake.
Despite the yellow face, I do love that movie.
Oh, it's amazing. It's like one of the best ever. But his role is unfortunate. My first experience with him, and this is not gonna shock anybody, is the Batman animated series.
Of course.
He played Bane, and he is so good. He only did it for. He only did it for 3 episodes. The first, he did 1 episode in the original series, 1 episode in the sequel series, and then 1 episode in the Superman animated series. So only 3. He's like one of the Bane is one of the most popular villains in Batman's lore, and he only appears in like 3 episodes of all of the animated series of that universe, which is very odd because all of the other guys get like a decent amount.
I know this isn't the point you were trying to make, but I would also watch a remake of this movie where Bane is also part of the Resistance fighters.
He's also
yeah.
He doesn't do the voice, but he is so fun in as Bane in the show. He's just like super he's all theatrical and like, you know, bravado in his voice. It's so like, I don't know, he's just so fun to listen to, and also see perform. He's just really a really engaging, delicious actor.
That'd be very funny if it was Batman and Robin version of Bane. So in Henry Silva in this movie, just like,
what words does Bane say in that movie?
0. I think. No,
I think he doesn't. He say like one thing at least. Like I don't know.
I don't think so.
He says, "Do not want," or something like that.
Do not want.
Who's the? Who's the? It was one of the first Aqua Teen Hunger Force episodes where you just find that one guy. He's like, more.
Oh, it's the mummy. The mummy. Curse. Yeah. Curse.
Proceed. Yeah. Proceed. Okay.
Or they get him like takeout, and then it's just like, come on, we don't have any more money. Curse. They find out that he can't do anything. No, mummies just annoy you, is basically what they come down to at the end of that episode.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Almost Major. Please rate, review, and subscribe to us on iTunes. Please follow the pod on Twitter at Almost Major to keep up to date with what movies we will be covering in the future. Myself, I can be found on Twitter and Letterboxd at KevBonesy. Bryden can be found on Twitter at Bryden Doyle and on Letterboxd at JDoyle. Charlie can be found on Twitter and Letterboxd at CTNash91. Once again, thank you for listening.